All right, so it's day 23 of 100 Days of ML, and I'm going to be continuing to plan out my ML project and also begin the initial steps of setting up my GitHub repository for the project I'm going to build. So yesterday I was checking out this article on, what is it on? I think it's Jeremy Jordan's website itself. So it's a great article. Talks about the different steps in planning the project. It also goes over like team roles and gives you like a very high level conceptual visualization of how to plan and set up the project, especially around machine learning products. So it talks about software 2.0, how data is pretty much the important part of software 2.0, outcomes logic instead of desired behavior, and how you can feed both. Talks about feasibility, some requirements, and also setting up the ML code base. Talks about like the organization. So I like his organization as well. I also like the organization given in ML Ops, and also this person, Theodorus. His article goes over a pretty good structure as well. So what I'm going to do is kind of combine all three-ish. So the thing is, in this article, he talks about a specific directory for ML pipelines under project name ML. Here and in ML Ops, I think the general structure they use is that they just use the project name, and inside of that they contain the code, the code for the project. Like for example, project name here, API models, datasets train, experiment.py. I'm not sure if I should create project name and then another structure ML. So I have to think about that. What else comes on the outside? So there has to be an app. So what I could do is project name. I could have an ML. I could have an app. I could also have an API, models. All of this, I guess, would come under ML. Datasets, train, experiment, all of that would come under ML. On the outside, I could have the Docker container. Under project name, I guess. Let me see how TensorFlow add-ons setups their GitHub repository. So they have tools, TensorFlow add-ons. Inside of this, they have all of the code for TensorFlow add-ons. They have a different folder in root directory for build apps, docs, and also tools for Docker. So I guess Docker would come on the outside in the root directory. And let me just double check by going into his repository. It contains a lot more code. So there's docs, data config, app, Streamlit, tag IFAI, tests, notebooks, model. What's inside here? Just files, I guess. Okay. I think there was also another article that I was referring to for the organization. Let me just do a good. This is the one I just searched up. This is talking about the orchestration of ML pipeline, not the project organization. Just search up project organization. This one does not go into project organization. Oh, I just remembered I had some sort of Google Cloud PDF open, but I think it got closed. Whoopsie daisies. I don't know where that went. Definitely did not end up checking that resource out. It's a textbook. Okay, so I think for the most part what I have going is not bad. I can definitely start from there. This does not seem pretty useful. What was that PDF I had open? I guess it's gone now. I have to go through my history and check. Well, I'll find it one day. I think I can get started on setting up the repository. So here's what I'm gonna do. Okay, the next steps are figuring out how to integrate CI/CD, Flask versus model server deployment, model server versus just packaging it into one application. Okay, next, creating order events and looking into setting up a GitHub project. Okay, what did I do yesterday? Decided on the model, created the first 3 steps of architecture, looked into that, set up and decide GitHub project organization, how to build front end. Okay, yeah, how to build front end. I'm going to use Streamlit. What orchestration tool to use? Okay. I also need to make sure that I'm going to be able to package it into a pip library in addition to the Docker container that I'm going to build. Okay, let's just get started. We'll call this what should I call it? I did pick up a text classifier, so I'm just going to call it text classification. Okay. All right. Have this set up. I think I could just clone this into. Yeah, I can clone it into my local environment here. So first things first, I want to make sure to set up the Docker container so I can develop the code. So that way, when I build the Docker container, I have everything, all of the dependencies installed in the container. And I don't have to worry about running the code locally on my computer. That way I'm going to run into issues with running TensorFlow and stuff. Okay, so let's take a look at the structure once again. Where was it? Down here. Okay. And this one had a file somewhere. Okay, I guess it doesn't. Here's a simple tree view. It's supposed to be right here. Let me reload. There, okay. So he calls it pipeline name, and then that's under ML pipelines. Project name ML pipeline, pipeline name. I don't understand why he gives a pipeline name for it. That's kind of whack, if you ask me. And let's just take a look at how this guy. All right, so yeah, he has this. He has docs out here. While I'm building the code, I have to make sure to include documentation and also build the documentation while also producing like the app and stuff. Okay, cool. Gotta remember that. And also figure out a way to host the docs. Maybe on like Firebase. So I do have to involve Firebase into this amongst app. So in directory app, I think I'm going to initialize Firebase. And have that part isolated from the rest of their code. Okay, let's go back here. Main branch right now. So I think I'll just set up everything on main. Upload files. I'm just going to clone this. Where do I want to put it? I don't have a projects folder. Guess I'll put it into challenges. I guess I'll put it under challenges. Okay, let's see here. And I'll git clone this. Cool. So I should be able to see another folder called text classifier, right? So first things first, set up the directories. I'll have was it configs, data docker. I'll have docker, project name. So So Docker. Do I want to call it Docker? Because here in TensorFlow add-ons, they call it tools, and in tools they have Docker, docs, and build docs. They also have docs in the main root repository. So what's this for, docs? API docs? And this is for just tutorials, I guess. I'm not going to have tutorials. I think I could just include that in docs. I'm going to keep, instead of tools, I'm going to keep Docker. Do they have anything else? CPU tests and all this stuff. I don't think I need all of this, to be honest. Okay, so I'll create a folder called Docker. And something called text classifier. And inside text classifier, I can have ML. I'm sure I have that machine learning code. I'll also have my app. And in ML, I'm going to have several different folders. One would be pipeline. The other sections would be one for data, utilities, let's see here. What else does he have? Config. Does he have a config in here? No, he does not have a config. Organization. Let me make sure I have a docs. This is where I build my documentation. He has a requirements.txt in his root directory and a setup.py. Makefile. And a couple standard. He also has a Docker file out here as well. Interesting. So he doesn't have a folder for Docker, he just has the Docker file. So for my Docker container, I think that's gonna have to be the first thing that I build. In order to develop my code, I need my container dependencies. So I'll have to get that done. Let me see how TensorFlow organize their Docker. So they have different Docker files for different things. Interesting. I didn't even know you could do that. What I think I'll do is just have like a Docker container for development. Yeah, that should be good. So I'll have to get that set up. What else? So CI/CD into project. So the CI/CD, the way I'm going to be integrating it is probably most likely to update Firebase hosting every time I push to master. So for example, pull up a whiteboard. Suppose we're at master right now. This is master. And then I create a branch and I branch out to, I don't know, some sort of development feature or something. What I could do then is when I push back to master, I can have this update push to Firebase. So this update, whenever master is updated and the code is pushed into master, Firebase gets updated with the new master code and it automatically deploys onto Firebase. Before that, I'm going to use GitHub Actions to make sure that my development code does not break. It passes all the tests. And once all those checks are completed and once it's merged to master, it's going to automatically deploy to Firebase. Okay, so having that set up, Flask web development versus model server. This is a tough one. So what I think I'm going to do is use a model server. Okay, yeah, but the only issue is that I'm going to have to end the model server before June 30th. Otherwise, I'm going to be charged for the server. So most likely after June 30th, the API will no longer be available online. In order to combat that, I'm going to be packaging it so it could be installed via like pip. After cloning the repository, I believe. So that would be good. Okay, and of course I'll also have the Docker file, so it could always be built with using Docker, which would be the recommended route. So order of events, first things first, gonna have to set up a Docker file. I also want to update the README, make sure I have all of the basic information down. So whenever I come back to the project, I'm not out of hand. Look into setting up GitHub project. So projects, we could create a project and sort out tasks and track progress with it. I wonder if TensorFlow uses projects. Can they use it for issue queue and PR queue? What I could do is just call it tasks or something. I don't know. What's a wiki for? No idea. Okay, let's go back here. All right, tasks. Let's see. To do. Set up Docker file. What would be next? Guess start building the pipeline with data ingestion? Or do I want to do something before that? Docs, Docker. Well, once I have the Docker file and I build Docker container. Oh, I want to update the README. Initialize read with just gonna call this initialize readme. Keep it simple. All right. What else is on the to-do list? I guess then we can start building ML pipeline. And then build app. And I guess before building the app, I'd have to set up CI/CD. And also initialize Firebase. Web hosting. So for the data, I'm going to be storing it locally, and also I'll have to create a data file and write tests for the data to make sure the model it can be tested through the packaging environment. And I'll have to include the API as well. So in addition to the pipeline, I do need a separate API. I wonder how he did that. Where's his API? So is this his pipeline? Well, he doesn't use TFX. So it's, I guess, yeah, I guess his pipeline isn't really automated. So that's why it could be the same thing. So when he deploys it, okay. And am I going to be using TensorFlow serving or Tensor or Kubeflow for deployment? I need to check that again. Oh, I mean Apache Beam or Kubeflow for orchestration. And also need to check the cloud services. So decide on cloud microservices. For example, like, I don't know, like AI platform, which got renamed to like Vertex AI or something. I don't think I need storage buckets. I'm not sure what else I'm gonna need, but I'm gonna write the stuff down when it comes. So this would have to go before deployment. So when the pipeline is up, how am I going to deploy the pipeline? Is it going to be automated on a model server, or is it going to be running locally? I want to check the local deployments for the pipeline. So I guess this is something that I have to come back to later. API packaging. Somewhere out here. And I also have to build the API. Also need to create documentation. I could have this done immediately after the initial pipeline is done, I guess. All right, that's a pretty good set of tasks I have going on. So what I'm going to do today is initialize README and I guess start setting up Docker. I'm not sure if I'm going to have time to fully set up the Docker file, but I'll get most of the dependencies in there. I have to be careful because I don't want to keep basically remaking the Docker image. It's going to take a long time. So I want to make sure I know all of my dependencies. So I guess I have to make a list of dependencies. List dependencies. Now I'll put that to in progress before I start setting up Docker. And we'll go from here. So let's go back here and work on the README. Okay, so for README, I need like a template to start with. That seems pretty cool. Where is he getting his shields from? That's one way to get a shield. Oh, this is all HTML code? It's a combination of HTML and Markdown. I could use this. Or model it after him somehow. What other templates are there on the internet? That's taking a very long time. So I'm going to refer to the first one here, and I guess create my own based on this. Here we are. I don't know, you can make a LinkedIn shield. That's interesting. I'm actually curious how he made these shields. Project shield, markdown links and images, contributors, LinkedIn URL, and then markdown links and images. Okay, but how did he... Summer shields, LinkedIn shield. I didn't even know this had a LinkedIn shield. Does he even have a LinkedIn shield? I don't think it does. Shields.io. What other like GitHub shields are there? Jupyter Notebook. Made with Python. For the badge. Guess he just made his own shield. Like I didn't know you could do that. Like you could just like link it to. Okay, well I don't even know why I'm like going over this right now. It's like the most basic, like unnecessary thing to like be stuck on, but it is what it is. And let me just check if it did show up with the LinkedIn icon too, which is pretty cool. Right, get started. So I'm going to start with the LinkedIn shield. I want to see if that works. No, I guess you can't really test this out until I push it, but okay. Let's just leave this for the shield. It's out of contact section. Oh, that's where he gets it from. All right, so let's see. I could just have all of this. Okay, I can't have this link. I'll have to update that. All of this stuff I can include it later. Okay, contact roadmap. Okay, that's an important part. About the project, I want to finish that as well. And table of contents, pretty nice, but I think I'll finish that at the end. All this stuff is just aesthetics. I'll leave a section for getting started. Okay, so roadmap, here's what I'm going to be doing. I'll have to, I'm just going to explain literally everything that's in the repository. Do I want to keep the roadmap here? So it's going to clutter the README. But I kind of need it for myself, so I know what I'm doing at the moment. Or do I? Maybe I'll leave this empty for now. Tasks. I guess I'll use this for roadmap instead. Organization. That way I have an idea of like what's going on. Because otherwise I'd have to constantly update roadmap and kind of get annoying to describe everything. And I can keep the set of goals here so I know what to do each day. Okay, so I think now I'll have to, I guess initialization of README is almost done. Well, I guess this is good enough for me. I think something else he added was acknowledgements. Okay, how about this for initialization? Well, that works. That's nice. I didn't even know that it existed on Shields IO. Oh, it's called social. Huh? I still don't see it here. LinkedIn Shield. Let me copy paste this. What the heck? What is this called? This is imgshields.io. Okay. Is that the same thing? I feel kind of dumb now. Oh, I can specify style and stuff. Okay. All right. So, okay. Let's see. So style is for the badge, and that's what he's using here. Logo. Can specify a logo. Color as well. So that's how I got it. Okay. That makes more sense. Okay. Specify a logo color and just the color of the background. It's pretty nice, pretty nice. Okay, so I have this down. Oh, I need to list down the dependencies. I need to make a list of dependencies to install. Do I want to add that here? I don't think I want to add that here. I just make like a direct file for called requirements.txt, and I can just start putting down stuff there. Right there, here is here, new file. So gotta put down TensorFlow, TFX, all sorts of tools that I'm gonna be using. Sheesh. Okay, this is gonna be a big one. Right now, I'll just generally write the what it is and later install, write the actual versions and stuff for this. Hmm. Okay, I'll update this list as it goes. Oh, hello. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just update my goals and end the stream here. So I finished setting up the repository with the structure. Okay, so the empty directories don't go through until you have a file in each directory. So otherwise they don't get pushed onto the GitHub repository. So goals for tomorrow would be building the Docker file. Okay, so one of the questions I have on chat is I want to become a software engineer. Can you please tell me what to do? Um, well, that's a pretty big question to answer. Yeah, there are a lot of videos online and on YouTube as well. There's also very good articles, but it honestly depends on like what specification of software engineering you want to do. Because the software engineering is a very broad term. You could go into like data science, for example, which I'm kind of doing with ML. You could also go into the DevOps, um, or build like the front end or the websites. So you could build front end and back end and be like a web engineer. Or you could do IT. There's so many different sectors. But to figure it out, I'd do like some sort of basic research into it and kind of dabble with like different types of code. So the way I did it was I tried building my own website and then I realized like, okay, so web development is not really for me because I didn't really enjoy the front end part, but I did enjoy the back end. I see. Yeah. So if you're in like 10th standard, you really have like it's good that you're interested in all these things, but you still have a long way. What I would suggest is kind of learn like a programming language and then start like doing projects, I guess. And as you do projects, you'll figure out like you'll naturally figure out like what you like, and you'll gravitate towards one side. Yeah, exactly. So that could be one preference where you like backend more, and then you can start developing on more on your backend skills like SQL, databases, and PHP and all of that stuff, and also building APIs and stuff. All right, so where was I? Build Docker file for ML project. So a Docker file. I'd have to image. Before creating the Docker file, I need to kind of finalize. I don't. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get some of the dependencies wrong, but if I have a majority of the dependencies listed, that'll be good. I have to go back to the textbook and figure out what dependencies to install. I have learned a whole Tinker and I made my project using Tinker. Okay, yeah, so Tinker is very like if I remember, like Tinkercad, I guess. guess you can make like Arduino projects on this. It's pretty cool, but I'd recommend like learning something like Python or C++, because that gives you more freedom to work with like different projects and build high-level projects. So Python, C++, Java, or even C, that would be great. And also, like if you're beginning, what you could try is go to HackerRank, I believe that's what it's called. HackerRank, a very good website where you can practice code. TKIN, Tink. I'm not sure if I've ever seen this before. It seems pretty cool. It's like a GUI for Python, I guess. Yeah, that's good. You could build more projects with Python. Okay, let's see. Update. Okay, so that's pretty much it for day 23. I'm going to answer a few more questions before I end the stream. You've made many projects using Python. That's good. That's good. Okay, so yeah, and then I guess if you want to go into backend, right? Backend, you need to know a lot about SQL, managing databases, building APIs using, for example, Python. For backend, you also need to know like PHP, managing. Well, I guess you can't. The problem here is you can't write backend code without writing front end code. So you kind of need to have like a boilerplate code for like a website. So just so you could write the backend. And an example I could give is like a website I developed for one of my projects, for my ML projects. It's a very simple website actually, if you look at the front end. So this is hosted on Firebase. What you could try is like hosting websites online or on a cloud service. You could also like just build a very simple front end, right? So right here, I just have like a text box and submit button, all of this stuff. And what you could write is like code for like retrieving data from databases and all of like that API part. You could just practice that or build some sort of product that where users can sign in and there's like whole encryptions for that as well. So you can log in into a website and that website displays some sort of information. All of these projects give you like kind of a good understanding of like the tools used. But yeah. Okay, that's nice. That's nice. Well, all right. So I do have to end the stream here. I'll continue tomorrow.